Hey guys, this is Ashley and I'm officially branding my yoga brand as Wing It Yoga. So what that means is I'm going to write down what I want all my classes to be and I'm just going to wing it with you. Today is going to be my actual first flow catering to strength. It's Black Friday, we probably all had a lot to eat yesterday, so it's time to get our muscles some good work. I want to talk a little bit about strength before we begin. I know that sometimes doing a hard workout doesn't seem like something you really want to do, and I'm here to say that means that you should probably do it. I like laying on the couch, I like doing easy things. My favorite form of yoga is restorative and gentle yoga, so a lot of times when I need to do a strength workout, I really don't want to. But I always end up feeling better after I'm done, and I know you will too. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to start out in mountain pose and Tadasana. We're going to be doing a couple of longer holds today, and while we're doing those long holds, we want to keep the foundational pose of Tadasana in the back of our minds. So let's go ahead and start down at the bottom of the feet. Align the feet with the hips, so they might be about 6 inches apart, maybe closer, maybe further apart. If you want to, go ahead and bend over, put 2 fists in between your feet, or even 1 fist. It's really all about what's comfortable for you. Lift all of your toes, and then with awareness, place each one back down on your mat. Make sure you can feel your mat through the balls of your feet and through your heels. And as we go up, notice your ankles, that they're engaged, your calves, your knees are being slightly pulled up because your quads are engaged, your hamstrings are engaged. And that brings us to our tailbone. You want to make sure your tailbone is not poking out like so, but you want to have it slightly tucked. You want to have your spine elongated and straight, shoulders back and down away from the ears, shoulder blades ever so slightly pulling together, and hands open at your sides. Along with your spine, you want to elongate your neck, and you can either stare straight ahead or look a little bit ahead of you on the ground or at anything in front of you. There's a guitar case in front of me. And we're just going to hold here for a few breaths to kind of get our foundation and start to think about what it means to cultivate strength. I know a lot of times you think that being strong means having really big muscles, being sweaty, being grunty. But right now, we're going to focus on quiet strength and calm strength. Just like the mountain. I mean, the mountain's strong. You're never going to see anybody that's going to be able to push it. But it's quiet. On your next inhale, reach your arms up. Slowly bring your hands together, exhale down to center. We're going to do that a few more times. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, meet your hands, bring them down. And while you're doing this, go ahead and go at your own pace. See if you can really stretch your shoulders out. And if you can imagine that you're breaking into all of that connective tissue. Before we get into anything really challenging, I want to remind everybody to practice ahimsa, which means no harm in the broad sense of the word. So when we're taking some poses that require strength and you think you may not quite be there yet, take a modification, go back into child's pose. I promise you, you're going to be seeing me take modifications. exhale, forward fold. And this is your first forward fold of the day. Feel free to keep your knees bent. We're just going to kind of hang out here to loosen up a little bit. And if you keep your knees bent the whole time, that is perfectly okay. My knees like to hyperextend, so it's usually pretty easy for me to get my legs straight. I have a fancy new mic here, so I hope you can hear me pretty well right now. Next inhale, bring your hands to your shins and lift halfway, lengthening your spine, reaching your head towards the front of your mat. Inhale, see if you can reach just a little bit further. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Take a couple more breaths here. So we're going to move into plank and hold plank for 1 minute. I'm going to go ahead and take the full version, but if you need to take the modified version, please bring your knees to the floor and get there. Your next inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant both of your palms and ease back into plank. Start and hold right now. So just like in mountain pose, you want to begin with the foundation in your feet. You want your toes to be tucked. You want your calves, ankles, and feet to still be engaged. You're still activating your quads and your hamstrings. Still slightly tucking your tailbone. As you move to your upper back, ensure you're broadening your shoulder blades. Pretend like you have a tea saucer in between your shoulder blades and you're trying to keep it nice and balanced. Your wrists are under your shoulders. You're feeling the ground through all the tips of your fingers and your palms. We have about 7 more seconds. Then we're going to take Chaturanga. And I'm going to do the modified version. Inhale, go forward. Exhale, bring your knees down, or if you'd like, stay up. And then we're going to lower halfway into Chaturanga. Stay here for about 20 more seconds. Ooh, this is tough. Yes, sirree. About 5 more seconds. And if you feel yourself giving out, just lower yourself down. That was about the time anyway. Next, we're going to hold a back bend for a minute. This is really your choice. If you want to take low cobra, bring your hands next to your chest. Inhale, lift a little bit. Ensure the tops of your feet are pressing into your mat. You're engaging your quads and pretty much your entire backside. If you'd like to take it a little further, go into high cobra. We have an upward dog, bringing your hips off the ground. If you want to take it a little bit more easy, you can come into Sphinx. And I think I'm going to take the more relaxing Sphinx pose. In Sphinx, you're still reaching the top of your head towards the sky, still elongating your spine. Your feet and your legs are still engaged. We have about 20 seconds here left. It's probably been longer than a minute, but that's okay. Spend our whole day hunching forward. So an extra 20 seconds or so in a back bend. Is it going to hurt anything? On your next exhale, lower down to the ground. Whew. Inhale, sit back into downward dog. We're going to stay here for about a minute. Feel free to move around a little bit, especially if this is your first down dog of the day. But eventually you want to find some stillness. Your feet are about hip width apart. Your arms and hands are still active. You're still finding that Tadasana strength, even though we're in downward dog. It may help to put some weight into the outside edges of your hands, into your pinkies, to kind of help broaden your shoulders. Another thing I like to do is I like to pretend out I'm trying to hollow out my armpits. It kind of helps me engage my upper arms a little bit more. And you want to make sure your tailbone is still ever so slightly tucked. You're not arching your lower back. And just find some quiet and calm strength in this pose. And it's already ready to move. Can you believe that? On your next inhale, look forward and bring your right foot next to your right hand. Flatten your left foot. We're going to come up into Warrior One. Inhale, reach up. Want to make sure your hips are squared forward. If you need to adjust your feet, do so. Kind of want to have your front foot in line with the middle of your back foot. You can take your hands anywhere you'd like. If you have them raising up, make sure you're not hunching your shoulders. Make sure they're still drawing down your back. You can also take goddess arms, prayer position, and just breathe. Feel calm in the fact that you have a great foundation in your lower body. This is a great pose to feel strong. Your next inhale, widen it out into Warrior Two. You're going to have your hips face the long side of your mat. Again, if you need to adjust feet. Your arms are out to the sides. You're gazing slightly over your right middle finger. And we got another about 30 seconds. Make sure that your shoulders are not drawing up and that you're not too far forward or too far back, so we want to be just over the hips. The trick I've always liked is to open your palms up, kind of let your shoulders go down your back, and move your palms back over without moving your shoulders. On your next inhale, straighten your front leg. Turn your right foot towards the center. We're going to take a quick break, do a wide forward fold. On an inhale, start to walk over towards the other side, so your left foot is in front. Spin the back foot down. Inhale up into Warrior One. If you need to adjust your feet a little bit, so your knee is over your ankle. And again, find your mountain pose. We got about 40 seconds left in this pose. Make sure that your weight is evenly placed through both feet and that you're constantly aware of bringing your right hip forward and your left hip backwards so they're squared off. up into Warrior Two. You feel some popping, that's completely okay. And here for another 50 seconds. While you're in this pose, see if you can feel strong. I know a lot of times I get down on myself. My baby's almost 6 months old and the weight's coming off slowly, but you know what? I can still do the best Warrior Two that I can, because this is a very strong pose. Your next inhale, bring your arms up, straighten your left leg. Bring your left foot towards the center. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold again. Inhale, turn towards the front of your mat again. And go ahead and step and sit down. Our last pose is going to be bridge pose. So bring your heels in front of your butt cheeks. Inhale and lift your hips up slowly. We don't want to go into a full back bend. What we're doing in this pose is engaging our glutes. So it doesn't have to be super high. Just keep it low enough so you're working your lower glutes. You don't want to be clenching any muscles too tightly. Again, this is all about quiet strength. And you're just about halfway there. I hope you can't hear me huffing and puffing too well. If at any time you feel like you've lost your breath, that always feels good. Just take a nice inhale through the nose and release through the mouth. And it's been a little over a minute. So if you're ready to come down, go ahead and slowly lower your spine. I'm going to stay just a little bit longer because my glutes are just now starting to feel it. And if you're with me, great. If not, go ahead and take a happy baby or fold your knees into the chest and roll around. If you're still with me, see if you can inhale and lift just an inch higher. Still not clenching anything. On your next inhale, come to the balls of your feet. Exhale, slowly lower down. Go ahead and bring your knees into your chest, rock it out. Extend your left leg. Bring your right knee over. Kind of toy around, figure out where you want to feel this. Sometimes you can move your knee up or down, feel it in a different place. I feel it all across the side of my leg, my glute, and my back. And if you got a belly like me, just let it hang. Who cares? Nobody does. Try to keep your right shoulder on the mat and your chest facing up. And look wherever feels comfortable. And close your eyes if you want to. Inhale, bring your right knee back in. Give it a nice little hug. Thank you for all your great work today. Extend it and bring your left knee in. Scoot your hips over to the left if you need to. Hug it in, then exhale it over. And again, you can look anywhere, but try to keep your left shoulder on the ground and your chest facing up. Your next inhale, bring your left knee in, hug it out, and slowly bring yourself to a comfortable seated position. Make sure your weight is placed evenly on both hips, and you can put your hands wherever you'd like. Just close your eyes and come into your breath for a few minutes. As you breathe in, mentally explore your body to see if any muscles feel worked, if any muscles feel tense. If you find any tension, see if you can breathe and let it go. Where your hips are planted firmly on the ground, see if you can feel strong even in the seated position. Your spine is still lengthening up. Your chin is slightly tucked to keep the length in the back of your neck. Shoulders are down away from your ears. Just remember, you're going to fail. Everybody does. Failure is part of growing. I fail at something every day, and I'm a better person because of it. Try to take your yoga practice with a light heart. Don't worry about doing all of the most challenging and advanced poses, because yoga is about the breath and about connecting with your body. And finding the quiet strength in poses that you might have not thought were strong poses. On your next inhale, reach your arms up. Reach your hands in the center. Lower them down to heart center. And blink your eyes open. Namaste.